So I was able to watch the new movie Bugonia, and I gotta say, it's definitely not for everybody, but it is definitely worth talking about. Let me break it down. See, the movie stars Jesse Plemons as well as Emma Stone, and the main premise of the movie is that there's a conspiracy theorist who believes that a CEO for a pharmaceutical company is actually an alien, and he also goes to very crazy lengths to prove it. Now, the movie opens up with honeybees pollinating in flowers. See, Jesse Plemons' character, his name is Teddy, and he's explaining how bees work to his cousin Don. Now, he tells Don that the bees are dying because of something called CCD. This is basically when the worker bees all leave the colony and they leave the queen and the nurse bees behind, which causes the colony to collapse. This is going to be important later. But see, basically, Teddy believes that this is happening because aliens, disguising themselves as humans, are actually destroying the world from the inside.
Just gonna
We
keep
don't
doing
need to talk
this. Okay.
because I know exactly what you're going to say. You're going to say that I'm in some kind of internet induced auto hypnotic feedback loop and gatekeepers and norms and all that weak hegemonic horse. But that is precisely the limp dick rhetoric that you've been instructed to counter the human insurgency with.
So Teddy basically feeds Don this rhetoric, right, which causes him to actually believe him. And the two of them go to capture Emma Stone's character, Michelle. And basically, their goal is to get her to admit that she's an alien. They also want her to allow them access onto her mothership in order to communicate with the Emperor and get him to leave, thus saving humanity. Now, when they capture her, they cut off her hair because they believe that hair is how the aliens communicate with each other.
Where's my hair?
Your hair has been destroyed.
You shaved off my hair?
Yes, we have shaved off your hair
Why have you shaved off my hair?
to prevent you from contacting your ship.
Now, Teddy also believes that the mothership is going to be able to reach our atmosphere undetected in 4 days during the lunar eclipse. Now, what's interesting to me is that in the movie, after each day, there's a chapter screen. And what that chapter screen is it's an image of the flat Earth with the crack in the firmament. So to me, I think this is a subtle nod that what originally kept the world together is slowly cracking. I also think they're just mocking creation in and of itself, but
How can you tell she's an alien?
Well, the signs are obvious. They did a hell of a job on it, but the tells are there.
now, some crazy things happen, right? And eventually, Michelle comes clean. She tells Teddy that the 75th Emperor of Andromeda discovered the Earth back when it was ruled by dinosaurs. Now, the arrival of the aliens caused the dinosaurs to die off, which made the Emperor guilty. So he decided to start a new life, thus creating humans in his own image. Sound familiar? Genesis 1:27, so God created man in his own image, right? Now she also says that some of the humans wanted to surpass the Andromedans and they grew more humans in labs. They also added new genes to humans to make them stronger, but ended up making them more aggressive. This resulted in a nuclear war. Now only a few survived, and take a guess how they survived. In an ark, right? So, regardless, the ark sailed in the ocean for more than 100 years, and by the time it was safe to get out, all that was left were these semi human apes who then evolved into modern day humans. She also tells him that man has brutalized the earth with war and ecological damage, and they show no signs of stopping. Basically, the goal of the Andromedans is to save humanity by removing that hidden gene that was inside humans from the lab test. So, in a sense, they didn't come here to kill us, but to correct us, right? Very similar to the fallen angels from the Bible, right? Genesis chapter 6, verse 2, we see the sons of God saw the daughters of men that they were fair and they took them wives, right? It's the same narrative. Fallen beings claiming to fix humanity by corrupting it further. But anyway, she tells Teddy that he has to come with her to speak to the Emperor. So she goes to her office and she tells Teddy that the teleporter is in her closet. Now, Teddy has a bomb strapped to his chest just in case it's a trap, right? Like most people would do. But when he goes in the closet, he ends up exploding himself. So now this causes Michelle to get rushed to the hospital. She wakes up in the ambulance and just rushes out of it and hobbles back to the office. And she goes in her teleporter and she teleports onto her alien mothership. Now, on the ship, we find out that she is actually the Emperor. We also find out that their experiments to remove that gene from the lab test is actually failing and it's not working. Basically, there's no hope for humanity. This is when Michelle says that they've had their time, it's over, and she takes a knife. She walks up to the model of the flat Earth that's in the middle of the ship. And the flat earth also has a firmament around it, right? Of course. She takes a knife and she stabs the firmament, popping it like a bubble. This kills everyone on earth. Now, it's important to note what the name of the movie means, right? Bugonia is a Greek belief that bees would be spontaneously generated from the carcasses of dead cows. Now, that's important to the movie because the last shot of the movie, we start to see the bees are coming back. See, human life is gone, but because of that, it brings back the bees. The point is that CCD wasn't actually the cause of the bees dying off, it was humanity. Now, this movie also relates to CCD with humanity because just like how Teddy was waking up to what was going on and basically abandoning the colony, right, the system, right, that we set up, he decides to take matters into his own hands. So just like the worker bees leaving the colony causes the bee colony to collapse, right? Teddy waking up to what was going on caused humanity to collapse. Now, there's a lot of different themes in the movie, and to be honest with you, I'm not even sure if it's actually making fun of conspiracy theorists because Teddy ended up being right in the end, even though the movie made him out to be crazy. But I do believe it is truth in plain sight. Now, I don't believe in aliens, but I do believe in fallen angels and evil spirits controlling people in charge. Now, I don't need to take matters into my own hands like Teddy and take them down because I also believe in God, which means that I'm on the winning side. Colossians chapter 2 verse 15 says, and having spoiled the principalities and powers, he made a show of them openly, triumphing over them in it. See, those beings already lost, and ultimately God remains in control. Follow God and film for more.